Did you ever feel like you did everything you were told to do and somehow still ended up exhausted? You went to school, you tried to be responsible, you worked hard, you learned new skills, you answered emails after hours, you stayed flexible, you adapted every time the world changed. And yet somewhere along the way life started to feel like a treadmill that kept getting faster. You are old enough to have responsibilities, but young enough to feel like you are still catching up. You may have a job, a relationship, bills, goals, family expectations, unread messages, health habits you are trying to maintain, and a quiet fear that everyone else has somehow figured out adulthood better than you. That is the strange psychology of millennial burnout. For many millennials, burnout is not just about being tired. It is the feeling of being permanently behind in a life that was supposed to be further along by now. Millennials grew up in a very specific psychological trap. They were raised with a promise: if you work hard, get educated, stay ambitious, and keep improving yourself, life will eventually become stable. So they did. They became the generation of degrees, internships, productivity apps, personal branding, side hustles, online courses, career pivots, therapy language, morning routines, and 5-year plans. But many of them entered adulthood during a time when the ground kept moving. The job market changed. Housing became harder. The internet turned every career into a comparison game. Social media made success visible and struggle invisible. And the old milestones, buying a house, starting a family, feeling financially secure, having a stable career, started arriving later or feeling out of reach. This matters because burnout is not only caused by doing too much, it is also caused by doing too much without feeling like you are getting anywhere. Imagine climbing a staircase where every step takes effort, but every time you look up, the top has moved further away. That is how many burned-out millennials feel. They are not lazy. Many are intensely responsible. They think ahead. They over-prepare. They try to be emotionally aware. They care about doing things properly. The exhaustion often comes from carrying too many invisible tasks at once. Work is one layer, but then there is the mental work around work. Am I growing fast enough? Should I earn more by now? Should I change careers? Am I wasting my potential? Is this job meaningful enough? Can I afford to slow down? What if I fall behind? That constant self-monitoring becomes its own kind of labor. Psychologists often describe burnout through 3 main experiences: exhaustion, cynicism, and a reduced sense of effectiveness. Exhaustion is the obvious one. You feel drained before the day even starts. Cynicism is more subtle. It sounds like, "What is the point?" or "No matter how much I do, it never ends." The reduced sense of effectiveness is the part that hurts quietly. You are still doing things, but they no longer feel satisfying. You answer the email, you finish the task, you clean the apartment, you make the appointment, and instead of feeling proud, you just feel briefly relieved that one more thing is gone. That is a very millennial kind of burnout. Life becomes a never-ending list where completing something does not create joy. It only creates space for the next responsibility. Another reason millennials burn out is that they were one of the first generations to experience adulthood with the internet always watching. Older generations could make mistakes more privately. They could change jobs without turning it into a public identity crisis. They could be average without seeing 1,000 people online appearing exceptional every day. Millennials were handed a different environment. They saw classmates become entrepreneurs, influencers, homeowners, parents, digital nomads, fitness transformations, and success stories in real time. Even when you know social media is curated, your nervous system still reacts. It sees someone your age with a better apartment, better body, better job, better relationship, better holiday, better morning routine, and quietly asks, "Why am I not there?" This comparison does not always make people ambitious. Sometimes it makes them ashamed, and shame is exhausting. Because when you believe you are behind, rest starts to feel suspicious. Relaxing feels like something you have to earn. Doing nothing feels dangerous, because part of your mind says, someone else is getting ahead right now. That is why so many burned-out millennials struggle to truly rest. They can sit on the couch, but their mind is still working. They can take a day off, but they are thinking about money, messages, goals, aging parents, health, career moves, or whether they are wasting their life. The body stops. The internal pressure does not. There is also the problem of identity. For many millennials, work became more than work. It became a sign of worth. They were told to find their passion, build a career they love, become the best version of themselves, and turn personality into productivity. At first, this sounded empowering, but it also created a strange pressure. Your job should pay your bills, express your identity, make you happy, prove your potential, and give your life meaning. That is a lot to ask from a job. When work is just work, a bad day is frustrating. When work is tied to identity, a bad day feels personal. If your career is not going well, it can feel like you are not going well. And for millennials who were praised for achievement early in life, this hits even harder. Some learned to feel valuable when they were productive, impressive, helpful, or ahead. They became adults who could not easily separate rest from guilt. This is why burnout can feel confusing. From the outside, someone may look functional. They have a job, they reply to messages, they show up, they make jokes, they pay bills, they keep going. But inside they may feel emotionally flat. Nothing feels exciting for very long. Small tasks feel heavy. Future plans feel overwhelming. Even good things can feel like another thing to manage. That is one of the clearest signs of burnout. Life does not stop containing good things, but your system has less energy to feel them. You are not empty because nothing matters. You are empty because too much has mattered for too long. Millennials are also caught between two worlds when it comes to emotional awareness. They are more likely than many older generations to talk about mental health, boundaries, therapy, trauma, burnout, and self-care. That awareness is useful, but awareness does not automatically remove pressure. Sometimes it adds another layer. Now you are not only trying to succeed, you are also trying to heal, communicate better, regulate your nervous system, set boundaries, eat well, sleep well, move your body, manage your screen time, process your childhood, and become emotionally mature. Self-improvement becomes another job, and when healing becomes a performance, even wellness can start to feel exhausting. That is the paradox many millennials live with. They know more about burnout than previous generations did, but they still live in systems that keep producing it. So what actually helps? The first step is understanding that burnout is not solved by one relaxing weekend. Burnout is often the result of a long imbalance between demand and recovery, effort and reward, responsibility and support. A single day off may help the body, but if the structure of your life stays the same, the exhaustion comes back. The deeper question is, where is my life asking for energy without giving enough back? It might be work, it might be money stress, it might be emotional labor, it might be constant comparison, it might be being available to everyone all the time. It might be carrying a future that feels too uncertain. The second step is redefining success. For a burned-out millennial, success may no longer mean doing more. It may mean needing less external proof. It may mean building a quieter life. It may mean protecting attention. It may mean choosing stability over constant growth. It may mean letting some old timelines die. Because one of the most painful parts of millennial burnout is grieving the life you thought you would have by now, the age you thought you would own a home, the salary you thought you would earn, the confidence you thought adulthood would bring, the version of yourself you thought would exist already. That grief is real, but being behind an imaginary timeline does not mean you have failed. It may mean the map you were given does not match the world you inherited. And if you feel burned out as a millennial, maybe your exhaustion is not proof that you are weak. Maybe it is proof that you have been adapting for a very long time to unstable work, to digital comparison, to rising expectations, to delayed milestones, to a culture that tells you to rest, then rewards people who never stop. The answer is not to abandon ambition completely. The answer is to stop treating your life like an endless catch-up project, because you are not a machine that becomes valuable only when it performs. You are a person who has been carrying more than people can see. And maybe the beginning of recovery is not a perfect routine, a new productivity system, or another plan to reinvent yourself. Maybe it starts with one quieter question. What would my life look like if I stopped trying to prove I am not behind?